Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. I did a pilgrimage years ago, actually back in 2019, just before the pandemic, around Mount Kailash in Tibet. It was really a very powerful experience. 4 days. 4 days of walking, 3 days of walking and 1 day of just resting in the middle. It was very high altitude, very slow progress because we couldn't breathe. Tibetans are running around and no problem, but we foreigners were really struggling. Part of the pilgrimage, there are different stages, and one of the stages is the stage of contemplating one's own death, and you're invited to bring something really precious to you and to just leave it there, let it go, and let that be a symbol for the loss of everything that we have in death. It's really easy to take it very seriously because you feel as if you're dying anyway because of the lack of oxygen. I started walking, going kind of 10 paces, and then I'd have to stop and I'd be gasping for breath for about a minute, feeling really terrible. For the first day I was doing that. And then one of the guides advised me, he said, don't try and walk at a normal pace, but actually go very, very slowly, slow motion. And then it was bearable, it was okay. But it was like being on the verge of death, and then it was like being really old and decrepit, not being able to walk at any speed at all, just tottering along. I am of the nature to age, I am of the nature to die. It just brought back to me in a way our fragility and our mortality. A sense of perspective. What is this life really? So short, so fleeting. How significant really is it? And I think these questions often come up for us when we're seeking meaning in our lives. I'm so happy to have a sense of meaning through the teachings of the Buddha. And I discovered the sense of meaning through coming in contact with the Buddha's teachings and through meditation practice. Coming home, this is the piece of nature that we can really investigate and learn about, see how the relationship between the physical form and the mental realm, how that operates. Recognising also why things happen the way they do in the world around us. Teachings on the laws of kamma, cause and effect. We do have a certain agency. It's important. What we do, what we say and what we think is really important. It's really meaningful, it's significant. Not for personal reasons even, but just because there's a field of cause and effect. And if we can put in peace and well-being and kindness, these qualities, the Paramis, the virtues, there's something that can be done here. We can develop these. We can actually put energy. One of the virtues is energy, isn't it? Put energy, and determination is another. Put energy and determination into developing good qualities. Recognising that, as the Buddha said, we can immediately feel the benefit here and now when we do that. There's a kind of ease, if not joy, if not happiness. There's ease and relaxation there when we actually know in ourselves what's wholesome and what's unwholesome. But sometimes we can get a bit confused, and then it's helpful to take in the Dhamma teachings and refine our understanding of what's wholesome and what's unwholesome. But we really have the sense, because if we just look within ourselves or we pay attention to how we feel, then we can immediately recognise. If I'm generous, first parami, if I practice dana, if I'm giving, that feels great, it feels really good. Second parami, sila, virtue, morality. We do good and we feel good, and we see other people doing good and we feel great for them. right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Rejoicing in that. And the Buddha gave all the guidance around that, great detailed guidance, how to avoid not doing good, because we're quite naturally good, in fact. In Buddhism, that is a given. We have natural goodness. It gets obscured, just as our mind is naturally very bright and radiant. The chitta, the heart, it's very pure, clear, but it can get obscured by ignorance. So we have this purpose to see where there's ignorance. It's difficult to see ignorance, but to begin to explore where we may be confused, where we may be deceiving ourselves or a little bit deluded about life, and to break through these obscurations. The chitta's shining like the sun perpetually, and the obscurations are like the clouds. Through following the Eightfold Path, we have all the tools, all the resources at our disposal to see our way and to really develop great well-being, ease, peace. Also letting go, which is the third parami, nekkhamma, renunciation. It's a very big part of the path, isn't it? Fortunately, a lot of what we're asked to let go of, what we need to let go of, are things we don't want to hold on to anyway, if we have any sense. And do we want to hold on to our sense of ownership of things? Not really. It's a burden, it's a weight, it's a worry. The more we have, the more we feel anxious about. So I'm not saying give all your possessions away tomorrow. I mean, it would be great, actually. But maybe not practical for everybody. Or maybe it's a process that needs to take a bit of time, but rather one can let go internally. So what I have, what I own, the solid bricks and mortar, or cedar wood and stone, our homes, all the stuff that's in our homes that we need, useful stuff, not to give it all away necessarily, but to not be holding on to it too tightly. And we can investigate that. And what can really help us to notice how much we might be holding on to material things is just to give some of them away and see how it feels. Give some away, and if it feels a bit difficult, we can just notice, I'm attached to this and that. And then we can investigate that. What is it I'm actually attaching to? Maybe it's a beautiful painting or something. So what is it about it that I need to have it here in my house? What exactly is it? And what does it feel like? To really look at renunciation inside. So to be able to, with wisdom, which is another parami, with the eye of wisdom, just to see how does it feel to really want to hold on to something and to cherish it. When I really look at that, the things that I cherish, material things I'm talking about right now, it's actually rather sad. I can feel very sad. Because what I know is that at some point I'm going to lose it. And we know that. So whatever it is, it's going to, at some point, either decay, disintegrate, wear out in some way, always going to break, or someone might steal it from me, or at the end of the day I'm going to die and then I can't take it with me. One way or another, it's on the way out. And so what I feel when I'm really looking at things that I cherish, material things, is sad for myself. Because I'm bound to lose them, and then I'm going to suffer. So then the question is, should I suffer now or should I suffer later? And again, you don't necessarily have to give it to somebody else or throw it in the dustbin, but you can just notice and let go of it now. We can literally work our way around our homes or our possessions and just investigate. Because letting go is joy, letting go is peace, letting go is freedom. And the lightness that one can experience then is quite palpable. When it comes to people, it's not so dissimilar really. We can't really own people, but we try to sometimes. We want people to be a certain way. We want them to be like they should be, as far as we're concerned. And they often disappoint, don't they? They don't meet our needs. It's very healthy and helpful to look at that and It's really good actually if people don't meet our needs. That's really fortunate for us, because it's better really to be independent, in the sense that we're not expecting things of others. We're not demanding things. We're not, even very unconsciously, just requiring certain things from other people, because it's ultimately not very kind. What's really kind is to let people be who they are. It's not always easy for us, is it? We depend upon each other. But the Buddha said, his parting words, the end of his 45 years of ministry, of teaching, what were his parting words, his last words to the huge number of people, it would seem, who were gathered around him? Be like an island unto yourselves. Be independent. Don't put your hopes and wishes onto others. The greatest gift we can give each other is to be independent. And then we can really give, because we're coming from a place of there's no lack, there's nothing missing. And then we can be really truly generous. First Paramis again. Generosity can come. And so this renunciation in terms of other people, I would suggest one way of looking at that is to let go of our expectations and our requirements, whatever they may be. And we can investigate that and see, what do I expect from this person or that person? And what happens if I don't get it? We can notice on a daily basis, can't we? Expectations are constantly being thwarted. Because people change, we change. Our expectations are not necessarily realistic. And in fact, to have an expectation at all isn't realistic. Expectations don't help, because it's like you're projecting something into the future. So to really let each other go, how do we really renounce dependence upon one another? For me, it takes me to the present moment. It's like, do I know you? Some of you I'm fortunate to be meeting for the first time. Some of you I've met before a few times. Some people I know really well. Long-term relationships. Do I really know you? Do I really know these people? Do I really know my partner? Do I really know my friends? Not really. We don't really, do we? How can we? Do we know ourselves? Do I know? Do I know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow? How I'm going to be thinking and feeling? We don't. So there's nothing we can really say that we know about other people. Can we meet them afresh in every moment, as if we're just meeting for the first time? Because actually we are. That's the truth. Because everything that's not of this present moment is an expectation or an idea from the past. And it's tinged then with delusion. It's not real. So to renounce others, and to renounce material things for that matter, is to be present. When we're present, we know that there's no knowing and there's no holding on to anything. Everything's passing by, just like water. You can't see the individual drops. Impossible. It's just this extraordinary flow. And if we can step back and just look at the flow, then we're seeing something a bit more clearly. So to allow ourselves to be a flow, and to allow other people to also be a flow, frees us up no end. This nekkhamma, this paramis of renunciation, we can see it in this way. We can also see it in terms of sila, in terms of the letting go of the unwholesome. Most of the Buddhist teachings on sila, on virtue, are all about what you don't do, as I said, rather than what you need to do. Because if we just stop doing the things that are unskillful, then we're bound to do the things that are skillful. Mundane virtue is to simply try to work to give up the taints, the defilements, to give up our tendencies to do things that are unwholesome. If we manage to do that, then we start to walk the supramundane path, where there are no defilements. And when there are no defilements, in the arahant, in somebody who's fully liberated, it's impossible to do anything harmful. So the natural state again of the mind is that it's always going to flow in the wholesome direction, and wholesome results will always follow, or wholesome manifestations will happen. One can be walking through the world harmlessly, And actually there's no karma being made, there's no result of that. So to have no result is to be entirely without any possibility of unwholesome action. So our work in terms of sila, cultivating virtue, is to simply avoid harm. And the Buddha gave the precepts, the very clear guidance. Avoid killing, avoid any kind of harm to any living being. Avoid stealing, avoid any kind of taking of what's not given. Let's honour and respect one another's possessions, space, needs, as much as we can perceive them. There are so many ways we can refine these precepts. Avoid sexual misconduct, avoid disrespecting others, viewing each other as physical forms, first and foremost. How horrible, how degrading. What is this? I mean, really, do we want to relate to each other as attractive or unattractive bodies? It's one aspect maybe, but there's so much more in relationship to really cherish and make much of. Respect, mutual appreciation, helping, supporting one another. Truthfulness, to be really truthful with one another. That's another parami, truthfulness. So cultivating virtue is to renounce the unwholesome. Speech is a very good area, to be honest, to avoid dishonesty, to avoid deception in any way, however subtle. Speech is very tricky because it's so quick. It comes out and then it's, I've said it now. But one can review what has been said and learn a great deal about ourselves in that way. To try and keep wholesome speech, to be honest and to explore that. Have I been sincere? Is there a sense of integrity? Do I actually know what I'm saying? Do I know what I'm thinking? We need to know ourselves to some degree, don't we, in order to be really sincere, to have a sense of integration here. Then we can put out that integrity. Of course, we can't expect to know completely what is and what isn't true because we're not fully liberated yet. We don't have clear vision, but we are developing it. And so this exploration of truth is almost like the path itself. It refines, it grows, it changes over time. Sometimes it can be like a sort of zigzag effect. It's not necessarily a straight line. I can wake up one day or I can be sitting meditating and I can have a sudden realization, oh my goodness, I've been deceiving myself all this time about this or that. I've been seeing myself in a certain light and actually that's not, we can have these little revelations, can't we? And then we realise the truth wasn't that. Oh, the truth is other than that. Oh, this feels more correct, right? And actually over time we can get to realise that our whole path is a process of seeing it's other than that. And the Buddha actually gave a teaching on that in one of the suttas in Majjhima Nikaya. He said the truth is always other than that. So whatever we think, perceive, remember, know, the truth is always other than that. And just to consider that, just a little question mark next to all our cherished views, opinions, ideas, sense of who we are, sense of the other, can be a really helpful practice. To watch our thoughts, to help us to watch our thoughts, what's more, is to bring up the question mark. Is it really so? Is that right? Are you sure? And one of Ajahn Chah's most famous and frequent teachings is a very short one, Meine. He would say that again and again. Not sure, it means not sure. If we bring that in, then we can really start to investigate Satya, truth, and develop this parami of truth, truthfulness, because that can help us to be very sharp. How do we practice so that we're not just coming and meditating and then getting up and just off we go on the wheel, back into samsara, dive in? How do we live our lives so that we're constantly mindful, constantly actually on the spiritual path, constantly investigating Dhamma, And this is one of the ways that we can do this. Just keep bringing it in, like a mantra. Not sure. In the Hindu tradition, they have this also, the neti approach. Not this, not that. We just keep observing reality through whichever sense door it comes in, whichever khandha we're looking at, body, perception, feelings, thoughts, consciousness. Whatever we're experiencing, it has to be within these paradigms. Whatever we're experiencing in whatever moment, bring in not this, not that. This isn't it, this isn't it. This isn't me, this isn't mine. That's another good reflection. Not me, not mine, not myself, not sure, not this, not that. All these negatives. But they keep us sharp, they keep us watching. We're watching the mind then. We're watching ourselves all the time. So this can be extremely helpful. So Satya Parami, we can keep developing it then in every moment, in every activity. I think I'll just finish by talking about the last two parami. I think I've mentioned all the others. I'm going to go through them. First is dana, giving, generosity. Letting go is the third. The second is sila, virtue. They go together, these, don't they? Generosity, virtue and letting go, in just the ways that I've described, like a triad. And then wisdom and effort and patience. To be patient with ourselves is so important. You hear the teachings. I'm saying we should be doing this, we'll try that, do this, do the other. And we might go away and just forget all about it. And that's okay. It's like we just try, we just give our best to the practice. But not to make ourselves too stressed about it, not to beat ourselves up if we don't manage to do today what we feel we should have done, live as well as we should have lived in the past, or manage our meditation, manage to get sitting and practicing meditation. Patience is a really important one. I think of patience in terms of kindness to oneself and not adding to our suffering needlessly with self-recrimination, self-judgment. Patience is to let that go and just to be willing to be where we're at. We're all striving to better ourselves, I'm quite sure, but to be patient with the process and not to expect too much, but just to be willing to let things take time, to let time do its work. We're not in control. If only we could just choose to get liberated at a certain point, but we can't. So patience is such an important quality. And also I think of patience in terms of anger, in terms of when negativity arises, coming back to sila again, when there are unwholesome qualities, when there are unwholesome thoughts, patience, a willingness to be still with that, to wait, to give time, not to act, keep the sila and not to act on negativity, but to have patience, patiently endure, and then these things will always pass, just given time. And that quality of waiting not for it to finish, being willing to be here with whatever we're experiencing. So this Ten Pāramīs, patience, really important virtue. And then I spoke about satya, I spoke about adhitthana, which is determination. And it's interesting, there's a place for both patience and kindness and also a certain effort and determination. So you see how these parami balance each other out so beautifully. And we can tell for ourselves when we need to ease up, be kind, be patient, support ourselves. Bring in the ninth parami, metta. Bring in loving kindness. We can know when that's needed. And we can also know when it's good to sharpen up, make an effort and determine to, say, meditate every day. That requires a certain determination and energy. So just really considering the parami, the virtues, and how they work together so beautifully and how they can balance one another. And the last, the final parami, is upekkha, equanimity. It's like the culmination of virtue. It's the culmination of the path, really. The Brahmavihara, divine abidings, it's the final one of those. It's the final bojjhanga, a factor of liberation. And it's the last of the Ten Pāramīs. So this wonderful quality just comes in again and again, and it's always the pinnacle in all the groups in which it's found. Equanimity develops with the path. It develops with all the Paramis. It develops with our practice. It's the quality of unshakability, of calm. And don't we all develop that in our meditation practice? So here we sit, 30 minutes, hour, however long it is. Put a timer out there somewhere, and we're here. And this quality develops because if we're just willing to do that much, just to sit with ourselves, be with ourselves, undistractedly, nothing else to do, then we're bound to suffer. It's bound to be challenging, and this quality of equanimity will grow. And it has this tremendous aspect of sensitivity, great intimacy with what's experienced. Very present, very aware, very awake. And isn't it wonderful how actually the more awake we are, the more calm and peaceful we can become. And the more calm and peaceful we become through our practice, the more sensitive we can be, the more we can take on, the more we can perceive around us, because we have that ability to just observe, be with. It's not indifference at all, it's the opposite of indifference. We're here. And just to be here is something rather wonderful, isn't it? And to keep cultivating this presence through our following the Eightfold Path. Consider these 10 Pāramīs. Bring them in, grow them. All we have to do to grow them is pay attention to them, give heart to them, and watch them grow.
Andamayandama kataya sadhu karam dharamase. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.